everybody. It's Monday. That means ramble time. Before we actually get into this week's ramble, because this is kind of an explorative of the ramble, I apologize. It will get comical depending on your sense of humor, your maturity, the subject matter. But I wanted to do something special for this week, and trust me, it actually took quite a bit of work to get what I'm about to show you guys up on the actual YouTube. Now, we all basically have had times in our lives where it's been really, really fucked up. You know what I mean? It's like, it's those times where you're like, oh, you know, I can't believe I did that when I was a kid, or I can't believe that, you know, our youth is really an explorative of who we're going to be as an adult, and it really shapes and molds into the fabric of our very being, who we end up being, and our journeys basically through life. That being said, I'm going to show you guys VHS footage of Game Junkie XL, 15 years old. Now you might say to yourself, wow, you gotta consider it, right? I'm almost 35, so this footage is actually, let's see, 20, I'm not good with math. It's like, this is 19-year-old footage, okay? This was shot 19 years ago. This was actually shot the day before my birthday, my 16th birthday. So, and my birthday is on April 5th. Now, what I have to actually tell you guys is I was going to come out and I was just going to, bam! I was going to like put this out on the YouTube and be like, ah, look at me being a retard, look at me being a goofball. And actually what I'm doing right now is I'm watching the footage playing out, because I have to wrap the footage on a video capture, because my video capture card, it keeps recognizing copyright on VHS tapes, old ass VHS tapes, and I'm gonna explain why here in a second. Now, when I was a young kid, all right, we had this video store in a town near where I lived, and you could rent video camera per day for $25. I'm not talking these little palm-sized video cameras that we got nowadays. I'm talking about, this is when video footage was actually first introduced. So the cameras were like, bam, you know, they were like really big cameras, and they were heavy and bulky, and you kind of needed a tripod to get anywhere with them, because they weighed, God, I don't remember how much they weighed, but I remember like carrying this shit around like this, you know, filming and everything, and it was horrible. But what we used to do is, I used to have a friend who ended up stabbing me in the back, but I miss him. He was like a brother to me. We spent our teenage years together, and we basically, my grandfather had an old ham radio, and what we did was we figured out how to peg into an AM station, and we basically every Saturday night would do this thing called 800.6 AM at midnight, and we would play songs and interrupt them and just be complete dicks. But we would put out songs without censor across the AM stations, and little by little, people in my school and other people from like other counties and other, you know, areas, nothing out of the state, nothing out of New York, but people started catching on. So we kind of like had our own little radio station. Then it progressed into, well, what can we do besides this? And when we were kids, my bro, his name was Jason B. I'm not going to give his last name, but yeah, basically I called him Rerun Sequel, and my name was Sleeves, because I used to steal a lot. I used to, you know, and I used to wear big coats, and I used to stuff stuff up my sleeves, because when you got caught shoplifting, they always checked your pockets. They never checked your sleeves. So that was it. But yeah, so we figured out that, like, oh, we'll go down to, we made my mom drive. God, I love my mom. We made my mom drive down to this town, this little shit splat town that was close by, and the video store wasn't open on Saturday or Sunday, but to rent a video camera, which accepted big ass clunky VHS tapes, if anybody remembers those, it was basically $25 a day to rent one. Now, we figured out a trick where we could go on Friday night and rent it, and we'd have it for the whole weekend for 25 bucks. We were little con artists back in the day, you know. So we used to rent it for the weekend. He'd come up and chill all weekend, spend the night and everything. And basically what we would do is we would sit and we'd make skits. We'd do like what I'm going to show you guys is like what I'm watching right now is the cooking show where I play Ethel Bender and he plays this Italian chef supposedly named Kami Lethal. And we used to do these VHS tapes and we used to send them out to people who wanted them at $5 a pop. So we were always good at making the coin, you know, we were good at making money. The bad thing about this is it's a VHS tape. To my knowledge, none of them still exist. Probably these people have thrown them away, burned them, they've shredded, whatever. The one that I actually am recording off of is horrible quality, and I do apologize ahead of time for the quality of this, but you have to realize this is 19 years old, okay? With the VHS tapes, they used to shred in the VCR and everything, so what you had to do is you take the thing out, you know, and you cut the ribbon, and then you'd stick scotch tape over it so that it would play, and you can definitely see where it's been taped over and over and over and over and over again, because this tape has been through literal hell. And I wanted to put this up for one of two reasons. A is because a couple of people had asked me, is like, what were you like when you were a kid? And another reason is for posterity, because this is the reason why I have to do this explorative before I actually release the ramble, is basically because this is from a time in my life when it was a lot simpler. And I think we've all been there and we all understand it. It's like when you grow up, you know, you face certain responsibilities and you have obligations and everything. And it's not like when you're a kid, you know, yeah, you have chores and you have this or that, you know, you have to follow rules and everything like that. But for me, the posterity of it is because this is a time in my life when, even though I'm a dick, and even though, you know, I have a filthy mouth at this point, and I've been smoking, you know, I'm 15 years old, I've been smoking for 6 years already, I'm wearing a red dress, for Christ's sakes, I'm wearing one of my mother's dresses. I grew up in a very abusive household, and trust me, after this video, after my mom saw this video and saw what we did to the basement of the house, which has been since torn down and everything, so this video is very, I'm just watching it right now, this video is very sentimental for me. You guys can watch it and be like, oh, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, or this is, you know, this is fucking corny, or I can't believe you even bothered to put this up on YouTube. But for me, this is definitely from a time where everything was far simpler, because what I see right here is me as still innocent. You see, it's like you can't even tell by looking at me that, you know, on a weekly basis I was getting my ass handed to me by my own mother, that I was getting, you know, beat and humiliated in school. I had so many bullies and everything because I was 342 pounds, 343 at this point. I was a very heavy kid. I'm a big guy now, but back in the day I was a lard ass, man. There's no way around it. There's no two ways from Sunday. I was a fucking blimp. Alright? Didn't have any girlfriends, none of that. Now, the thing about it is this is a day before my 16th birthday. The day I hit 16, I got my first real job. I'd been mowing lawns since I was like, come on, 11 years old. Making some coin on the side, you know, but I got my first real job on my 16th, the day after my 16th birthday. 2 months after that, after I'd saved up a little bit of chump change, I hopped a Greyhound bus, and I'd been talking to this girl who I met through a magazine. I can't remember the name of the magazine for the life of me, but I'd written a letter about how parents don't understand our generation of music, because at that time, you know, it was like Nirvana had just came out with like that song Rape Me and everything like that, and I wanted to be a voice for the youth of the generation and say, you know, parents just don't understand. You shouldn't be so hard on them. It was the same way when they were kids and everything like that. Well, this girl responded, and I was talking to her. I was buying phone cards and everything and talking to her. And she really, honestly, you know, cared about who I was. And I sent her some of these VHS tapes, and she knew what I was about and everything. She lived in Oklahoma City. So, with $5 in my pocket and everything I owned, I hopped a bus. About 4 months after this video was shot, I took off from everything I knew and I went to Oklahoma City. And basically, from there started my downward spiral into where we got to today. As some people know, shortly after reaching Oklahoma City with no job, no money, anything like that, I became homeless for 2 years. I became a heroin addict. I always carried around a sidearm. Shot at a lot of people. Got shot at quite a bit. Almost got my leg severed by a machete. Still can't walk on my legs right. And I mean, just, you know, this was before all the women. This was before the drugs. This was before everything in my life just crashed. Before I hit rock bottom. And I didn't get my life or my shit straight until I got with my girlfriend now. And but up until that point, this was like the last pure moment of my childhood. Because, like I said, 4 months after this video was shot, I basically had to grow up really fucking quick. I can't tell you how many times I faced death in Oklahoma City. You know, I mean, I started running drugs from Mexicans. You know, I had a 68 Charger, jet black, purple interior, stolen, of course. Bought it for $1,000 because I was running drugs from Mexicans, and it ended up I got put into prison. Spent some time in prison and basically ratted out the people I had been working for. Took, you know, a little bargain, and they let me out and exported me back to New York. And I'm still, to this day, of my knowledge, not allowed anywhere near Oklahoma City, Midwest City, Mid-Del City, Del City, any of those areas. I was basically excommunicated from Oklahoma City. So this video is very pertinent for me because this, like I said, this is the last pure moment of my childhood. And, you know, you can laugh, you can joke around about it and everything, because, you know, some of it is funny. It's very childish. My voice is still high-pitched. I hadn't, you know, got the whole smoker's voice or anything at that point. And, you know, I got the big poofy hair and the mutton chops going on, and I'm wearing a red dress, and I'm just retarded in this video. You know, I'm watching it right now, and I'm just looking at myself. And I still see myself in that little kid, even though, you know, obviously I've been through hell. I got lots of gray and silver hairs now, and you know, my body ain't what it like it used to be. I'm not that heavy, but I'm far less mobile and active than I should be. But that's basically the whole explorative of what this footage is. And I'm not just gonna upload the Idiot's Guide to Cooking, which is what we call this. But I'm going to upload some more just like random footage that I found on other cassette tapes that I have. It's just stuff that we put together, skits and everything, footage that we shot. And some people are going to say, well, what are these black things around the video? You know, except the fact that it's going to be horrible quality, okay? The bars that you see around the actual screen is because we had this big old clunker television, you know, a wood frame cabinet with the pedestal legs and everything, and we'd set the video camera up and we would record us watching basically the video that we had shot, because it was the only way personally to make more copies of the video. And I don't have the original video anymore. It's long since gone. This one's actually on its way out, and I just wanted to get it up, just so, you know, just even if it's just for me, just to remember that time where, you know, before anything really truly bad or evil happened to me, or before I ever even had, you know, I never even touched drugs at this point. I had, you know, I smoked cigarettes, yeah, and I was drinking. I started drinking heavily by the age of like 11. But what I'm saying is, this is before like any kind of hardcore drugs, because I've never really been a pothead, never really smoked pot, anything like that. But like, I became a heroin addict. I was doing crank, I was snorting, I was doing, you know, everything. I was huffing octane booster, for fuck's sake. That's retarded, you know. And I'm not an emissary for like drug abuse or anything like that, because I think everybody needs to go through a time in their life when they just hit rock bottom to get where you need to be in life, you know. So if you're out there and, you know, you're a heroin addict and you're watching this right now and everything, and you kind of know that it's not the lifestyle that you want, but, you know, it just seems like you'll never break out of it, you'll never stop, you know what I mean? If you're at that point where you're like, oh man, there's just no way out, so I might as well just keep going on this path and everything. I beat it, brother. I beat it. I still have cravings for heroin. I still have cravings for, you know, crank and just every kind of hard drug that I did. I skipped right over like the minor drugs, which is like pot and pills. I've always had a pill problem, but you know what I mean? It's like I went right into the hardcore stuff, and I beat it. I beat everything. The only thing I do now is the same thing I was doing back then. I don't drink anymore, but still smoking cigarettes. That's my drug. And video games. Video games are my drug, but you know what I mean. You get where I'm coming from. So anyway, yeah, so that's the explorative of what this week's ramble is all about. It's just a collection of my youth spilled out before you. Take it how you will. If you like it, you know, make sure that you let me know that you like it. Don't just like watch it and be like, whatever. If you enjoy it, let me know you enjoy it. You know, and like I said, this is a trip for me to watch it, because this has actually been in a box in the closet. This tape has moved several times with me, and I've always managed to keep it and maintain it. But I hadn't. Wow. Yeah, I got my ass beat for that. You're about to see, like, when my mom's red dress just took fucking all kinds of nasty shit all over the back of it. It was like her church dress, and oh man, I got beat hard for that, really bad. And I used to have to like kneel on broomsticks in the corner for like an hour. You should go try it. It sucks. But this just reminds me, you know, it's just like I've maintained this tape and I haven't watched it in a good, you know, probably 10 years myself. And the tape is 19 years old, like I said. There is a very few handful of people that have actually seen this tape since I've had it, except for the people, you know, who originally listened to 800.6 AM at midnight and paid $5 for a tape similar to this. We put out a lot of these tapes. We did a lot of content, everything just skits and us being retarded. But that's the gist of it. That's what this is. I hope you guys appreciate it, or that, you know, you can enjoy the fact that this is basically footage of somebody before they hit rock bottom. And know that no matter what your problem is, or no matter how low you think you are right now, you're always going to pull out of it. You know, this is before all the suicide attempts. I've tried to commit suicide 7 times in my life. It's sad to say it, it chokes me up to say it, but I reached that low. I reached that low 7 times. And this is before all of that. This is before everything. So, I hope you guys can walk away with something from this other than a good chuckle or a good laugh, or laughing at the fat kid, because honestly, this is a very heavy video for me, as far as like looking back on my life and the cycle of it all and everything like that. So I hope you guys can appreciate it in some way. I hope I can, maybe give hope to somebody who thinks, that it's never going to get better and everything like that. That they find, by watching this video or whatever, that there is, hope in the future. That, you can work out through your problems and everything. God, I have an evil smile. This is way before really the bad teeth. Or, all my teeth basically rotted out of my head. I had to get extensive dental work. This is, just back in the day, we're not giving a fuck. You know what I mean? It's a very different time. There's an 8-track tape. Probably nobody even knows what the hell those are anymore. But yeah, it just chokes me up to watch this stuff, because it's like kind of when you go to the zoo and you see a deadly animal behind like the cage, and you shouldn't be watching it because you know what it can do to you, but at the same time you have to watch it, and I'm watching it, and it's just, I wouldn't say, it's kind of monumental for me. So I'm glad I can share this with you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope that you get a good laugh out of it. Whatever, you guys feel about the video and the clips and everything like that. I hope you guys really enjoy it and take something away from it, even if it's just like a fat joke or whatever. So anyway, guys, I will see you next week when we go back to the ramble, and I think we're gonna have a special guest next week, but I'm not really sure yet. I have to give him a little call and see what happens. Other than that, that's been the explorative. The ramble is coming up next. There's going to be a link right up here in the corner. You couldn't see my finger because I'm way over the camera. But yeah, the link is going to be up here in the corner, right directly to the ramble, so you don't have to go back and search for the ramble itself. And next week I'm going to see you again